You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
Igo by Toyota sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13.
Marlene.
I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.
This is You're Welcome America, the podcast that explains what the bloody hell Brits are banging on about.
In every episode, we translate British pop culture for America
and American pop culture for Britain. You're welcome. Whoa, is that like when we get a budget and we suddenly have an actual proper theme and everything?
When we have a band leader that's going to sing us on every week.
A live band in the corner of the You're Welcome America studio.
Exactly.
Fabio would love that.
Oh yeah, they're just going to do songs from Burlesque.
Welcome to Burlesque!
Every week they're like, can we change it up? We're like, no, just do Sex Express, whatever it's called.
Speaking of which,
What?
did you see that weird video that got sent to us that we put on Instagram? That insane Maura from Love Island selling Ann Summers underwear doing a burlesque parody in 2021.
I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah, it's Maura from Love Island selling Ann Summers, like her Ann Summers range. And it was themed, and it was hers doing Express for burlesque.
Which is in terms of clearance nightmare performing that song.
Well, it's like we all know from the Pixie Lot episode that those songs are like got a lot of rights issues. But yeah, she managed to get it. That's why I said it was definitely cooked up in the You're Welcome America lab, because it involved every element that we loved. Unless she'd actually also set it like at the millennium. That was the only other thing that was missing.
During the countdown to the millennium.
Exactly. Anyway, good for you, Maura.
How are you, babes?
I am great. I don't know why we always laugh when we say that, but I am. I'm doing pretty good. I feel like right now, obviously we're recording this on a Monday evening, and the UK has, today been rocked by the Meghan and Harry interview with Oprah.
So have you watched it?
I did. I actually wasn't going to watch it, and then because of peer pressure from the group text chain, I ended up watching it.
Thoughts?
Well, first of all, my thoughts were, my God, it's hard to watch television in America if you don't have all the right things set up. I tried to go on Paramount Plus. I couldn't find it. It wasn't on my direct TV.
Oh, it was only on Paramount Plus live through the CBS thing. I know. I've just had a text about that.
I have direct TV, so I was like, I could just watch it on that. And it had the page for it, but no, there was just no box to click, and I don't understand why I didn't have it. I ended up watching it on CBS.com.
Yes.
I didn't even know what was going on. But anyway, first of all, Oprah's glasses. Loved them.
Yeah.
I also saw a great tweet today talking about the strong pigmentation of Oprah's purple eyeshadow and how it was quite something to be beholden.
Oh, lovely.
So obviously it was some quite dark stuff being discussed, but there was that moment that she said she did go just straight to HR. And I want to know what happened. Linda in HR, do we think? Mm-hmm. And then my thought was they just kept sending Meghan to voicemail because they were having office drinks on a Friday. They were like, oh God, Susan's leaving, so we're going to have a Colin the Caterpillar cake and a nice little glass of Prosecco. They're like, Meghan's calling. It's like, it's Friday at 4:00. Send her to voicemail. We're having some drinks. That's my idea of the royal PR HR
department. Lovely. I would like to bring up Harry's shoes.
Okay.
Do you notice his scuffed shoes?
I didn't.
They're very he clearly has had them since his time in Eton. They're very oh yeah, I'm really wealthy and really rich, and I love these shoes and I wear them until they're dead, and then I buy another pair for 10 years. It's very that.
Well, I have some grave concerns about Harry and the kind of the climate. He is not cut out for the California sun.
Yeah. And you're right. I was thinking I would love it if he trimmed his hair properly, and it was, he's balding.
Yeah.
We all are. And I would love it if he trimmed his hair, but actually then he would have more exposure to the sun.
Exactly.
He's on that Santa Barbara beach. Chilly this time of year. In the summer, however.
I just feel like the Montecito sun is going to be baking down on that ginger skin, and it's not going to be good for him. Yeah. He's got to be really careful. I just hope Harry's got a high SPF daily moisturizer that he's going to be putting on top of the Factor 50 that he's going to have to wear just every day as a part of his routine. Also, I'm concerned he's not going to have that built into his routine already.
And then just thinking actually back to Montecito and back to his shoes, they do not have a grip on them. That's a real leather soled shoe. Yeah. So if he's climbing down those Montecito rocks onto the beach, he's going to struggle.
Yeah, although don't you think he's just... Oh, can't you just imagine how many pairs of gross flip-flops Prince Harry has? Because it's very like him
in Gap Year.
Exactly.
Him in South Africa.
Exactly, because I don't know, did you spy that little bracelet that he was wearing as well?
Oh, he loves he loves a travel bracelet.
Yes, it was very like, oh, I picked this up from a little market. It's like, no, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You're Caucasian. No one needs to see it.
All to say, we support Meghan. We love the idea of a young woman of color just taking on the crusty old monarchy. So good old Meg.
Yeah, good for her. Could have done without her comparing herself to Ariel from The Little Mermaid at the end. That was a misstep, but everything else I agreed with.
I agree. That was it got too American there for me.
Oh, she 100% Googled him, and she shouldn't have said Ariel from The Little Mermaid. They're my only problems with her during that interview.
Yeah.
I loved her dress. No, we shouldn't talk about a woman's looks just because that's what we're doing. But I loved her dress, and I love those two wispy pieces of hair that were blowing in the Montecito wind the whole time.
Great heels.
Lovely pair of heels.
Also,
lovely outdoor rug in that area.
Lovely outdoor rug. I mean, how many meetings were there about the rug, the two chairs,
Yep.
the plant which was angled very specifically. But hey, if we're talking about a woman's appearance, let's talk about Harry's a bit more. They are a very attractive couple.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah, he doesn't look young and sexy anymore. He looks kind of old and sexy. A very strange observation to make because he has just got older. But
my issue is I do then think of Charles and I'm like, are you just going to turn into Charles?
Well, no, because that's not his dad.
Oh, yes. Okay, and moving on. So before we get into it, we should tell everyone what this podcast is about. If you're new, welcome aboard.
Hi.
We're doing it. Hi. That was a formal hi. In every episode, we take a British pop culture topic, we discuss, dissect, and we work out the US equivalent. And then we do a US pop culture topic, discuss, dissect. What's the UK equivalent? And that is our show. Also, we should let everyone know we've got 2 more episodes of Drag Race UK. We are recapping Drag Race UK on a podcast called Drag Race Recap. We've got 2 more episodes of that. Give it a Google in the pod shops. You'll find it.
Yes, and
enjoy.
We also have coming up soon another installment in our amazing series You're Welcome America Presents, which is a spin-off which we actually do on this same feed where we kind of deep dive into a very specific TV show. So far we've done Totally Scott Lee and the show Girls Aloud Off the Record.
Yeah, probably launching that in April. I feel like an April launch.
Yeah,
April
sure.
Launch? Yeah, why not? Shall we do some feedback?
Yes. Okay, I have some feedback from David on Instagram. David M. I can't pronounce your last name. I'm very, very sorry. So he actually got in touch to let us know that he ended up ordering actual bags of Walker's Crisps, Worcester sauce flavor and pickled onion to get delivered to him in Dallas. Oh. And I had some questions for him saying, because basically there's a Walker's Worcester sauce crisps shortage in the UK.
There is.
My mum was trying to send them to us. And he just said he looked it up on Amazon and got all these bags delivered to him. And he basically said that he took them to his office and everyone passed on the pickled onion flavor. But he said that the Worcester sauce flavor went down an absolute storm. So they're all very impressed with it. So we are actually influencing people who do not know us in real life to buy Walker's Worcester sauce crisps. And we still do not have a brand deal.
So Dallas work culture snacks. Great.
Yes.
We're on it. Jesse actually tried the pickled onion Monster Munch. Wasn't so into it. There is definitely like a dill reference, I would say, for the US.
Right. Which is weird because I would refuse to eat a dill pickle chip over here, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah, but you're difficult.
I'm fun. I'm challenging. And then David also has a great a bit of question for us. So he actually has also been listening to our Drag Race podcast where we were talking about tastes on Drag Race UK, where she was kind of talking about beans on toast. Mm-hmm. So he says, okay, different one of your podcasts. After Drag Race UK, I had to get beans on toast. I'm sure there's some US equivalent of a redundant stack of carbs. I haven't tried it yet, but I have the bread, the butter, and the special type of baked beans. And then he says, and I assume the mayo that Dawn French suggested as the salad spread. That's a lot.
There's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack.
Essentially, I feel like you're asking us what is the US equivalent of beans and toast.
Yeah.
And I have an answer.
Oh, what is it?
I think it is from the box Kraft mac and cheese.
Okay. Same kind of comfort level.
Yep.
Warmth.
Legendary, classic, iconic.
Well, I'm a little worried that he's taking everything that happened on Drag Race UK quite literally, though, because he's also said, I also got the ramen noodles to try on bread that Taste suggested.
Oh, that was...
Now, we need to...
No, that was super noodles on toast.
That was super noodles. So I think Taste was saying on Drag Race that she had a pot noodle sandwich, which is insane. And British people don't do that.
That's too wet.
It's too wet. It's too wet that you shouldn't do that. And I essentially what you're saying is you're going to eat like instant noodles, an instant noodle sandwich, and I don't think you should do it.
I would say a super noodle sandwich is fine. That could work.
Yeah, well, I guess you could make a pot noodle and then you just take the noodles out of a pot noodle and have that in the sandwich, because then you've got all the pot noodle water left.
And you could just drink that on the side
And
like
then
a little chaser.
Yeah, exactly. You could do that like a shot of like weird chicken stock flavored thing. It's all we're trying to say essentially, David, is beans on toast, absolutely go for it, try it. Be careful with that kind of noodle sandwich you're going to make. That's not a British thing. That's the words of a crazy person.
Yeah, worried about that. We've had Mr. Danny Lucas on Instagram just commenting about a Rachel Stevens episode. Love Rachel. That was it. We love comments like that. Do get in touch on our Instagram. You're welcome, America. We've also had an Apple Podcasts review. We love these. Please do these for us. We love it. Someone called Kate Loper, and the title's just, hi, babes. She's given us 5 stars. Correct answer. And she said, so many times I've wondered where I can get the tea on UK references, and it's just an added bonus that I love Ben and Fraser, and that it's queer as fuck. Thanks, babes.
We are queer as fuck, aren't we?
Queer as fuck. Thank you.
So I've had actually this is from Killian McNally, he's the one that sent us the more burlesque clip, but he also had a great question based off the back of the Rachel Stevens episode. He said something for us to brainstorm. So he said, if Rachel Stevens is the UK equivalent of Hilary Duff, what would her clothing line be called? Because Hilary's was called Stuff by Duff. Rachel's Rags.
Rachel's Rags. Done.
Rachel's Rags. There we go.
Rachel's Rags. We've had Tone Ring on Instagram get in touch. He said, great episode about the last one. But when are you releasing your Welcome America playlist on Spotify? Showcase the songs of all these classic ladies you've been discussing each ep. It would be iconic. Well, it's out there. It's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Where do you find it on Spotify, babes?
I think you type in Your Welcome America and then our podcast will come up as well as the Spotify playlist.
But we've done a very fun, colourful cover for the
Yes.
Welcome America Spotify playlist.
Yes,
so
and we'll be Instagramming a link to it after this episode comes out.
Lovely.
I've got some great plans. Promo.
We've also got Dean Barney in UK in reference to Rachel. I always found her too insipid. Even LAX could have been a better song if performed with more spunk by, say, Kylie, Jerry, Britney. Rachel always seemed a bit milk toast / Louise Redknapp for my taste. Then he just says, IHOP, heaven.
Well, I understand where he's coming from, but obviously, as proven by this podcast, I have a lot of love for very kind of gentle personality, beautiful, UK white chanteuses from the early 2000s. Your Louises, your Emma Buntons, your Rachel Stevens.
Yep. Safe and comforting.
Anyone whose vocals are like, ooh, la la la. Love it. I forgot to actually add a little extra from Killian. He wanted to have a kind of just an informal chat with you, even though he's not here, about the fact that even though Brittany might have passed on Sweet Dreams by LAX, she used the ribbon choreo during the Piece of Me residency during Oops, I Did It Again. She did. Definitely influenced by it.
She's on it. He said that Richard X really crushed Jerry's dreams with the same vigor as a swan's neck. Tie it all together. Mm-hmm. Okay, hang on. Mm-hmm. Great episode. Imagine how much funnier it would have been if the fight was over the top 30 hit Funky Dory. BTW, that song was written by David Bowie. Funky Dory.
What?
Oh my god.
Oh god. But that discography is, for something so beautiful and beige, it is fraught with issues and madness.
What's your swan neck update for me?
Oh no, I've heard from multiple sources from Norfolk that they were also told a swan's neck will break your arm. So it must be very Norfolk specific.
Norfolk folklore that you've all been, I don't know, chomping on.
Oh my god! Speaking of folklore, I'm going off script here, but a source that will remain anonymous for this because he told me he was too embarrassed. Told me that, and this is an Irish person, that he genuinely thought that Fields of Gold was an old Irish folk song because he kept hearing Nadine singing it on different Irish TV shows,
like an old Irish ditty.
Yeah, exactly. And then he was like, oh, and then I googled it and realized it was just a song by Sting. interesting, right? Eva Cassidy? I don't know. Who cares? So we've got some audio feedback.
Oh, whoa. Is it Laura York?
It's actually not my mum and it's not Michael. This is actually someone who does not know us, who listens to the show, like an actual true listener.
Let's hear your voice.
Not someone we've like forced into doing it. So this is from Canon You Believe on Instagram, and he's left us this note.
Hi, so I'm just listening to the Rachel Stevens episode. Just wanted to say, I'm fairly sure, well, I was fairly sure that the instrument at the beginning of Natural was actually a cor anglais, but it might be an oboe. But it's sampled from this piece of classical music called Pavatin by Fauré. And I feel like it was at the time when loads of other people were sampling classical music and using it on pop songs. And the other thing I wanted to say was, I absolutely love Sweet Dreams by LAX. And my favourite thing about it is that noise that is used, which almost sounds like someone bouncing a ruler. You know when you used to like bounce a ruler like on a table that used to make like kind of sound? Love that in it.
Which, first of all, cor anglais, he's right.
Yeah, that's
cor anglais.
That's some high-low feedback. That really is.
Yeah. And
cor
then
anglais in a classical piece, and then the sound of a ruler twanging in Rachel Stevens' "Sweet Dreams" by LAX.
Wasn't there a thing in school where if you twanged your ruler, it could break? And wasn't there like shatterproof rulers?
They're very much shatterproof rulers.
Yeah.
Actually, also. There was a trend that went around my school. I don't know if this was at yours. It's kind of sexual assault, but it was fun.
Uh-oh.
So basically,
Oh, God.
when you were sitting on a plastic chair, one of the things that people would do if they were sitting behind you, you know, when there's obviously like a hole in the back of the chair, the school chair that you're sitting on, is that they would get the ruler and just slide it under your bum cheeks so that it kind of makes you go like, woo! And then obviously you make that noise, and then the teacher just gets really angry at you. And me and my friend Lydia got into trouble for doing that to each other. Essentially sliding rulers, it's under each other's buttocks, not into. I just want you to know that it's just like it was playful. It was fun.
I mean, once again, much like the Swan's Neck, what was going on in Norfolk in the 90s?
Not much. Broadland High School, not much. They built a McDonald's in the year like 1998 in that village, and we got very excited that we could get McDonald's on our lunch break. So shout out to Broadland High, represent. Whoop whoop.
We've also had Kaylee Elizabeth 314. She said, long-time listener, second-time commenter here. I live in Missouri and can confirm the phrase hunky-dory is alive and well in the Midwest. Also, I was once so hungover in an IHOP, I sat with my sunglasses on, hood up, and considered laying down in the booth while waiting for my breakfast potatoes and pancake combo. And just at the end, she signs off, cheers.
Oh, lovely.
Cheers from Missouri.
Wow, we're reaching Dallas and Missouri.
I know.
I'm nervous. Oh, and we got some sports feedback, which is incredibly confusing.
Oh God, sport ball. Here we go.
So this was from our episode about the Super Bowl halftime show, and this is from Erin Johnson on Instagram. She commented on the Super Bowl halftime episode. So she said, "Okay, bear with me. I'm going to go into probably a fugue state as I read this."
Okay, cool.
The Super Bowl this year was held in Tampa. It marked the first time a team playing in the Super Bowl not only played in their hometown stadium, but they also won.
Oh.
Where the Super Bowl is held is similar to how the Olympics are decided. Multiple cities will place a bid to host a future Super Bowl, and it's voted on by some committee. And then she says, great show as always, guys. So I just wanted to get that compliment in there. Okay, no, I didn't go into a fugue state. I understood that.
That's
so it's got nothing to
interesting.
do with who wins and who loses. It's not like Eurovision where they just go to that city to then play again.
Imagine if the Tampa team didn't win, like in their hometown, in their home
Yikes.
stadium.
Florida.
You're just confirming that Tampa is in Florida.
Guys, Tampa's in Florida.
Oh, good to know. You're welcome. Thank you for all your feedback. Please do get in touch on You're Welcome America. And you can send an email, can't you, Fraser?
Yes, You're Welcome America podcast at gmail.com, and it's the letters U and R, not YOUR in You're Welcome.
Beautiful.
Oh, and we're on Twitter too at You're Welcome USA.
And that is it for feedback. And we are back. Okay, we do a British topic, we do American topic. Fraser, like Razor, you're up first with a British topic.
We've had a tweet.
Oh, one tweet. Love it.
We've had a tweet. So we've heard from Erin Marie on Twitter, and she had this little comment for us, and it's what inspired me this week. So she says, I'm obsessed with supermarkets and had the pleasure of hearing your take on Iceland foods and got to shop there when I was in London for my final trip before COVID. If you could teach me about Sainsbury's for a future episode, I'd be in heaven.
Well, do you know what? She's about to be in heaven because, babes, what's your topic?
My topic this week is a Sainsbury's supermarket. And I just looked, and Erin lives in Louisiana, in New Orleans. New Orleans is how we say it. It's New Orleans if you're actually
Old
correct.
Orleans?
No, Old Orleans, the restaurant in Norwich. New Orleans. And I just love the idea of someone in New Orleans thinking about a Sainsbury's supermarket. I love the idea of a Sainsbury's local popping up on Bourbon Street.
On Bourbon Street. I also love the fact that just before COVID, she stocked up at Iceland.
Yeah, well, you've got to, it's a
She
cultural
knew.
landmark. You've got to see it.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm going to be talking about Sainsbury's supermarket.
Okay.
Now, this is a very special topic close to my heart because let me tell you a little something. I used to work there for many years.
Wow.
So I've got a whole lot to say about it.
The inside scoop.
Exactly, the inside scoop. So, that was really satisfying. So just boring. Let me just tell you the boring line. So Sainsbury's is technically the second largest chain of supermarkets in the UK. However, that information changes. Like there's like a rotation. So basically, it's always going between Tesco's, Sainsbury's, and Asda as the top 3 supermarkets in all of the UK.
Okay.
It was founded in 1869 by someone called John James Sainsbury's, and he had a shop on Drury Lane in London. Yada yada, blah de blah, history. It became a supermarket.
Got it.
Whatever. It's just one of the big supermarkets in the UK. Let me tell you some little stories about it. So, it's the year 2001, I think. 2001, 2002.
Okay, you've survived the Millennium Bug.
Yep.
Got it.
Millennium Bugs, I've survived that. I'm 17, 18. So, yeah, 2002. A little show on TV called Pop Stars The Rivals was airing.
Mm-hmm, I've heard of it.
Forming Girls Aloud. I started working at Sainsbury's. Let me tell you about what I did at Sainsbury's.
Okay.
When
Responsibilities, uniform, the whole shebang, please.
So, my first job when I got there was definitely... So bearing in mind, I was 18, I was studying. There was lots of young people that worked at this Sainsbury's. There was a real hierarchy in terms of where you worked and what you did and what it represented about you.
Okay.
So when I started working in the chilled food aisles. Not a great... In the social pecking order of Sainsbury's, not great.
So what were you doing there? Stacking shelves?
I was stacking the shelves of the chilled section. So we're talking your cheeses, we're talking your meats, we're talking yogurts, translation yogurts, we're talking ready meals, we're talking, but fresh, not frozen.
Okay.
It's very cold. I had to wear gloves. I had to go into this big giant chiller at the back and pull out these it's a very strange job where I was pulling out these big giant rolling cages filled with food and boxes and I used to use a special machine that squashed all of the cardboard boxes. There's just all kinds of things that I could do in my life at that time that I couldn't do now because I'm too soft.
Were you stacking and stocking those shelves during the daytime or was it night?
This was all daytime.
All
I was
daytime.
doing full just normal daytime jobs. So I'd just be on the shop floor just opening up a thing of petit falou and just stacking them on the shelf,
But what's annoying about that is that during the day as a customer, you're getting in the way because I'm trying to get my petit falou and you're in the way. And then I might say to you, excuse me, where are the AAA batteries?
Oh, I will tell you, let me tell you something. Because it was a big supermarket and you work in a specific department and obviously a part of your training is you cannot just say you're not allowed to say aisle 20. You have to take them to it. It's it's part of the rules of working at Sainsbury's. You have to take them to the product. So the amount of times I spent traipsing all over that bloody shop, showing people here's the tin openers, or here's the tin peaches, blah blah blah.
Translation: can openers. Translation: canned peaches.
Yeah, thank you. So that's where I started. Not great on the hierarchy system. Now,
how did she move on up?
Well, at a certain point, there was a little something called till training. Now, this is basically so that when the checkouts, do they call them checkouts here? Yeah, when the checkouts get too busy, they would open up new ones and they would train members of staff who worked in different departments who could also work on the checkouts and they'd call you in as a backup. Mm-hmm. So then I was till trained. So at this point, I would run from the chilled section because my hands were so cold. I was like, oh my God, I can sit down.
But how would they call you? Would they beep you?
It would be over the tannoy and it would be could all... This is a colleague announcement. Could all till-trained professionals please report to tills? I've got some of the wording wrong there, but that's basically what happened.
Okay.
Or they would call you by name to the tills. And it was great. You'd get to sit down.
Frazer to the tools, Frazer to the tools.
Exactly. You get to sit down. You could take your gloves off. Your hands weren't cold. It was just great.
Now, was this an era of nectar cards and nectar points?
Yes.
Okay.
Next, and definitely, I'm so old that when I worked there, people were still sometimes paying by check. I remember accepting a lot of checks and not really understanding how it all worked. There was a machine I had to like put the check into, and it made some electronic noise, and I didn't know what was happening. Anyway, so it turns out this is what I discovered after working there. Fresh section, not cool. The two coolest departments you could work on were if you were a gay man or a girl, and I'm talking teenage years, you wanted to work on checkouts. If you were a straight, attractive man, you worked in produce. Okay?
What's produce like?
Fruit and vegetables.
Fruit and veg.
Yeah. But everyone was very like burly, and it was very like laddie, and everyone
Like,
was
just like lugging around like trays of turnips.
just
things
like
that.
big boxes of potatoes being slammed down. It was very sexy. Okay. So eventually I left the freaks in the chilled section goodbye. I was like, you can all just stay in the freezer where you belong because you're all ugly and disgusting.
Yeah, eat a fucking petit filou.
Yeah, exactly. Like scramble through the specialty cheeses. I'm not interested. So I moved up to Till. So there I was with all me and like, you know, one other closeted guy and just a load of girls. And we were all just like, you know, we'd sit on the tills, we'd gossip, we'd go and have our lunches together, we'd gab. Me and some of the gals would go on nights out in Norwich. Like, it was a thing. It was a scene when I first got there, because it's when I just turned 18 as well. You know, set the scene. So then what would happen then is that we would basically wait. What you would want to do is you'd want to be on either Till 1 or Till 2.
Okay.
Because they were closest to the produce area, so that you could, like, check out the guys that worked in produce.
Got it.
I had a great friend called Gemma. I mentioned her before, where she where she bought the Girls Aloud single and the One True Voice single from Popstars The Rivals. So she cancelled out the votes.
She cancelled out the votes.
She cancelled out the votes.
Gemma.
She's like, I can't decide. I like both songs so much. And I was like, no, Gemma.
Pick one.
Buy Sounds of the Underground. And
Yeah.
actually, we both bought them from the Sainsbury's that we worked at. And then I think we sat on a lunch break and like talked about it. She was great. I'm going to tell you about one of the most mortifying experiences of my life. So...
Now you've had, and this is in the grand scheme of things, you've had many.
Yeah,
so I'm excited.
This one's not great. So I had a crush on a guy that worked in the produce department.
Name.
This is future Frazer. I'm actually gonna bleep out his last name to protect the innocent. But you know who you are. Everyone knows who you are that worked in that Sainsbury's.
What's his name?
Here's a great name. His name's James. He worked in the produce department. Still is. I'm gonna say that to him, even if he hears this. Still very sexy.
Okay.
Very sexy man. You know, we were all friends. We'd all go out and like see each other on nights out, yada yada. I got really, really drunk on a night out, and I had his phone number.
Oh God!
And I was like, I'm just gonna tell him how I feel. That'll work. The next day, I woke up and I saw the message I'd sent.
Oh God!
And it's a phrase that is used multiple times in my friendship group because they think it's so funny. It's really not that bad. I basically just sent.
I feel awful.
I basically just sent him a text. It just said, "I'm gay and I love you." So now, anytime for some reason, I don't even know what context we use it, but all the time we're just like, "Oh my God, I'm gay and I love you." We just, it's just so funny. I was
How did you
mortified.
Then, oh my God, waking up and seeing that text in your Nokia 5110.
Yeah, I was mortified. I think I don't even really remember.
What was the fallout? Did he reply?
No, he didn't reply. And then I remember being like going to work and obviously going to the checkouts and being like, I don't want checkout 1 or 2. I want checkout like 50. That's like right at the other end of the store so that I never have to look at him ever again. And I think we all just like, because we were so young, you know, when you're young, you're not mature enough to be like, let's have a conversation and like make sure everything's fine. But then what I will say to his great credit, at some point during the awkward time, he was just like, it's completely fine. Like, it's like, you know, I'm not gay, but it's fine. And like, he's like, we can continue to be friends. He was very gracious about it and very lovely.
James.
And yeah, to this day, I still would. Yeah.
To this day, you're still gay, and you still love him.
I'm gay and I love you, James. Still applicable in 2021. This all happened because of a little place called Sainsbury's.
Beautiful.
Now I've got some more information about my time working there.
A question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
In the hierarchy of
Sainsbury's.
Just of UK supermarkets, where do we think Sainsbury's lands? Because I feel like Tesco is the equalizer. That's kind of like that's the kind of the control.
Yes.
And then below that would be Asda. And then you would go to like
Aldi,
Lidl, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like Tesco's in the middle.
Yeah.
But then Sainsbury's just above.
Yes.
But it's not up there with
Marks and Spencer's
or Waitrose.
No. It's accessible in a way where it's meant to be that everyone shops there, but everyone that shops there slightly thinks they're better than everyone else. They don't think they're better than everyone else enough to shop at Waitrose and Marks and Spencer's, so they're not full snob, but it's very like, to use horrible old like UK outdated terms, it's very like
upper middle
class, yeah, like
right.
attempting to be as posh as Waitrose and rich, but not being able to afford it, so shopping at Sainsbury's. Which is why we shopped in Sainsbury's growing up.
See, we didn't have Sainsbury's in Scotland. I remember when they opened up the Buchanan Galleries, a mall that opened up in 1998. Shout out to our listener Erin, who loves supermarkets. I love malls. What can I say? But at the bottom of they had a very kind of luxe Sainsbury's local, but like a very high end one.
Right.
That had a lot of because it was right in the center of town. It had like a lot of like pick and mix, but with savory foods. A lot of those kind of things going on. So that was my first experience of it. And then when I went to university in England, there were Sainsbury's. And I was like, what is this? So we would go to Sainsbury's and we'd buy things like, I don't know, just like weird ham and packets and all kinds of different things. But I remember thinking...
Weird what?
Oh, like... We got really obsessed with buying...
Ham in packets.
Yeah.
I thought you said ham and packets, and I thought this was like a Scottish thing.
No.
Ham and
packets and like little cherry tomatoes and Cars water biscuits, and that'd be our snack. Those three things. I know, very strange. But I remember being quite, like, thinking it was quite a thing to go to Sainsbury's when I was at university.
Yeah.
Particularly also because at university everyone went to like Lidl and stuff like that.
Yeah, at university I shopped at Asda, but then weirdly enough, before university I was richer than I ever was as a student. So, and I worked there and had discount there. Had a discount card.
How much the discount? Talk me through the discount.
I wish I could remember. I think it was 25% off. It was pretty good.
That's great. If you're doing a grocery, although you wouldn't be doing a food shop at that age, would you?
Oh no, it was completely useless for the teenagers that worked there, but for like the middle-aged women that worked on the tills, it was great.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to talk you through, I will apologise to you, Erin, because what I'm doing is really not talking about Sainsbury's at all. I'm just talking about my life, but I've got a couple more stories to go with it. So when I worked on the tills, the checkouts at Sainsbury's, I once got a mystery shopper, and you know me, actually. You know that as much as I like to pretend I'm cool and like a rebel, I really hate, being in trouble and going against authority. So I always thought if I got a mystery shopper that I would excel and go through the roof. Now, we used to do a shift that was called 2 till 10, and 10 o'clock was the closing time. And it was really rough because you started work at 2 in the afternoon, but then you were still sitting until at 10 at night, and it was really boring.
Yeah.
Now, I got mystery shopped at like 8:45 on a 2 till 10, okay?
Okay.
I think I'd been out the night before. I wasn't on top form. Now, when I got the report back from my boss, it said that, the person on the checkout did not look at me when I arrived, did not say hello, did not speak throughout the transaction, didn't say thank you, didn't say goodbye, didn't offer to pack my bags, and essentially was a very, very rude person. And I got that as my feedback. I literally failed it.
Well, do you want to know a fun fact? I think this...
It was you.
It was me. I think this really says a lot. I used to have a job as a mystery shopper.
Of course you fucking did. It couldn't be more you to be... Oh my God, of course you're a mystery shopper. Oh, it just all makes sense. I didn't know that about you genuinely, and of course you were.
But I would do it for a car company. So I'd travel around Scotland buying...
Oh, no, you have
test driving and buying cars.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and then I would write up like really, I'd write up
scathing reports.
Really scathing reports. And I remember I got someone suspended as well once.
You'd still be a really good mystery shopper now. If anything, your powers have just grown with time. Okay.
Uniform.
Okay. Couple of things about the uniform. In 2020, last year, Beyonce launched a range of her like Ivy Park, and everyone laughed at it because it looks just like the Sainsbury's uniform. So the uniform now is like a maroon, maroon with like yellow stripes, I think, down the side, and like yellow like writing on it. It just finally, I've just remembered one of my favorite stories. We also had this is a very specific British thing to say, a cigarette kiosk. So it was its very own counter that would sell cigarettes, newspapers, magazines, and the lottery.
Lovely.
So actually, at a weird point in my life, I used to be able to operate a national lottery machine, which also seems insane to me that I could do that. And my favorite thing was obviously the age that you could buy cigarettes in the UK. You had to be over 16.
Yes.
Yeah, you had to
think
be.
so.
You couldn't be under 16 if you were buying cigarettes. And I was, I was working with this very fun older lady, and this, this clearly like 13-year-old boy came in, and he was like, I'd like 20 B&H gold, please. And this woman, she was like not really paying attention. She turned around and she's like, Liam, I know you're 14. I know your mother. And he like ran out of the store and she was like, I'm gonna tell your mum. And poor Liam never got his B&H gold or whatever it was. Just love that story.
Aw.
Also, how weird is it that I used to be able to operate a lottery machine? Lucky dip. Is that the lucky dip for Saturday? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, you want to check your results? Oh, look, you won £5.
That also makes me think that like you were running the national lottery, like the machine with the
Oh
balls.
yeah. Oh yeah, Guinevere.
Oh my god! In another life, we were TV producers on the Saturday Night
my
National
God,
Lottery
please.
show. Imagine us.
Dreams could come true. That's like our
Right.
90s selves.
Have you briefed Mystic Meg? Shit.
No one's talked to Mystic Meg. What are we gonna do? Oh my god.
Genevieve's broken. Bring in Lancelot.
Natasha from Atomic Kitten's not ready. She's not ready to release the balls. So those are really just my musings on Sainsbury's through my eyes. So really, all in all, again, Erin, I'm sorry. That's probably explained absolutely nothing to you about Sainsbury's and probably raised a lot more questions than it's given you answers. But that's me, 18 years old. I'm gay and I love you.
We need to work out what is the US equivalent of Sainsbury's.
Okay, so I obviously had a long old think about this because we've definitely, we've done kind of Gelson's as, Marks and Spencer's, Trader Joe's. We got a very specific answer for that I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
So-
Iceland, we had one. Oh, there was a regional freezer store.
Some bullshit. But basically, what we need to find is just a very mid-range supermarket that is, and again, I'm just going to reference LA or kind of West Coast places just so that I've got the knowledge of seeing inside of them. And I feel like your Vons, your Ralphs, they're just like, they're a little Tesco-y.
I would say Ralph's is Tesco. I wouldn't say Vons is Tesco.
Ooh, I don't know. Have you been to that Vons in
I'm saying Vons is worse than Tesco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I
Yeah.
think Ralph's is 100% Tesco.
Yes. So I actually think that even though they're in the same family,
Oh.
I think maybe Albertsons tries to be just a little bit fancier, and it's the kind of fancy, like, imagine if you live in, like, if you're like truly snobby and you live in Los Feliz, you would never shop at Albertsons. But I imagine it's like some people are like, oh, I'm going to Albertsons. It's like, oh, like they've got this like artisanal soap display, but it's like not.
It's not actually that nice.
It's not actually that nice. But
Okay, I think
it's very like in the grasp of what you kind of want to get.
And also, J. Sainsbury's, Albertsons, both people.
Exactly.
Albert.
And now I can't say I haven't got my eyes on anyone that works in the produce department at Albertsons
Yet.
recently. But
Yet.
I'm gay and I love you can be my new 2021 pickup line.
More merch. I'm gay and I love you.
I feel flushed thinking about that whole like event now. Oh, well, I'm gonna honestly make sure that James listens to this episode. I think he's gonna absolutely love it.
Oh, do give us some feedback.
I
guys.
will. Yeah, we want direct feedback from you, James. Okay, so there we go. That was my life when I worked at Sainsbury's, and the US equivalent of Sainsbury's is Albertsons. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And we're back. I just bared my heart and soul for you, talking about our UK topic, Sainsbury's, and with our US topic is Benjamin. What do you got for me, babes?
Well, do you want to know where I was last week during a global pandemic?
Ooh, somewhere safe and calm and empty. Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere, yes, but none of the other things. I was in Las Vegas, which is the topic that I'm going to be discussing today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Okay, so
Yikes.
Las Vegas. I was there for work. I want to tell you what the whole experience was like, what Las Vegas is like during a global pandemic. First of all, I had to get there. Now, because of COVID, safer to drive, I drove. Have you done that drive before?
No, thank you.
It's a very boring 4 hours through the desert.
Right.
And then you get to this bit where, for UK listeners, Las Vegas is in Nevada, a different state that borders onto California. And at the state line, there's like this bottleneck where you have to kind of go through it. And there's a really creepy casino and amusement park which is shut down.
Ooh, love a closed amusement park.
Beautiful.
Theme park.
But it's particularly bad if you're driving out of Vegas on a Sunday, you can get caught on that road, that bottleneck beside the border. It's awful. We did it last summer when we were traveling through, and it was about 105 degrees that day, and it was so busy. It was so busy that people were driving off the road into the desert to bypass all the traffic. There's a lot of that going on.
That doesn't seem fair or safe.
Well, welcome to Vegas. So, I got to Vegas, was there for work. I was staying on the Strip, but kind of on the edge of the Strip. So, in fact, I think I talked about before the hotel called the Vidara with the Death Ray.
Yes.
For listeners who did not hear that last time, it was a hotel that was built in such a shape that when the sun hits it, the sun magnifies to a certain heat that can basically burn you. So that's fun. That's where I was staying.
Lovely.
But it was
Did you
fun.
see the Death Ray?
Well, the whole hotel's... I was in the Death Ray.
Oh, okay.
The hotel has no casino.
Lovely.
Lovely.
That's a real pro tip for anyone that goes to Vegas and doesn't want to smell other people smoking.
Exactly. There's no smoking and there's no casino.
Yeah.
Because all the other hotels on the Strip and in Vegas in general, you can smoke inside, so it just smells like the year 2001.
Oh my God. I smoked when we went to Vegas before. God, I love that.
We'll get to your trips.
Oh yeah.
So at the moment, what is going on there? So bars and restaurants are at 35% capacity. Ooh. Are the casinos open? They sure are. Throw some money on the table and roll that dice. So I walked through the casino because my hotel's connected to the Aria. I feel like the Aria is very... Like, you wouldn't stay there when you were 21 because you might not be able to afford it. But maybe when you're like 28 or 29, right, you might stay there. It's like young and fun and a bit hip. So I walked through the casino in the Aria. It was busy. And the way they've got it is everyone has to wear masks inside. You're only allowed to take off your mask if you're actively eating or drinking. So if you're like taking a sip or whatever, but you can eat inside.
Yeah, and
all those things.
And people are constantly drinking in Vegas.
Oh yeah, they sure are. So you can gamble, but if you sit down at is that blackjack table? I mean, I don't understand gambling.
I think you just called it a blapjack table.
If you sit down at the flapjack table, the flapjack table, you just gamble in flapjacks. But if you sit down at any of those places to gamble, they've got plexiglass up around you and in front of you, so you can then just put your hands through to like use the cards and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Super safe.
Yeah.
Oh, also actively eating, drinking, or smoking. You're allowed to take your mask off for smoking.
Oh, so they don't require you to smoke through your mask, which seems like a great idea. Little hole in the middle of it.
I also, on my day off, when I was finished on the job I was working on, and my final day off before I was leaving, and just to say, I was tested. Our work group were tested 3 times that week, and we were separately on a set, whatever. Right. But after all of that was done, and I wasn't going to be working anymore, I did go to the pool on Saturday, the Aria pool.
I received a picture from you.
Saw a little picky.
Very intrigued by the tattoo on that man's back. Needed to know what it said.
It said something. So I went to the Aria pool, and the way it worked is, unless you're like paying for Cabana or whatever, which I just wasn't gonna.
Classic Vegas hierarchy
Couldn't
bullshit.
put that on the company card. I got like a sun lounger away from everyone else, still in the sun. But they didn't have table service. You had to line up at the bar. Everyone was very distanced though. Yeah. Everyone's very respectful. The music wasn't too loud. It was very chill. Good. So, but yeah, I stood behind a guy and I sent a picture to Frazer of just the scene. And a guy had a tattoo in his back that looked like a song lyric or a phrase, but it was so made up that I can't even remember it. So it would be something like, walking through life takes a tumble unless you fall. And you'd be like, right. You're like, I think this vaguely sounds like it's a real phrase, but it wasn't. So yeah, there are lots of tats around the place.
Oh, I love it.
So I sat by the pool. I bought a 32-ounce margarita. Oof. So how would you describe a 32-ounce to the UK? What would that be?
It's like a big cinema drink.
Big cinema drink. I upgraded to a nicer tequila because, hangover-wise, that's the key. And also, I didn't want to line up in that bar line again. Yeah. So, just had that giant thing. And so I lay in my sun lounger. Now, a few times, I think 3 times, an attendant came over to me and said, you need to put your mask back on because you're not actively sipping your drink. And I was wow. So they were very on it.
So people are leaving Vegas with mask tan lines, like white mouths.
Yes, you're allowed to take your mask off if you're actively walking to and from the pool or you're in the pool. So in the pool, you can have your mask off as well.
Okay, so you could take your drink into the pool and have your mask off.
100%.
Okay, fine.
And
Thank God.
And I did. While I was laying there, I was like looking around, having a little look at the scene. And do you know what? Mm-hmm. There were some homosexuals around.
What?
Yeah. So 2 sun loungers along from me, 2 girls and a guy plonked themselves down. And I was looking at them. I was like, they're kind of hip. So I ended up striking up a conversation with them.
Okay.
We're both masked we're all masked while we're chatting, and there were 2 sun loungers away.
Well, there better be, otherwise I'm calling the police.
Exactly. The ARIA cops were going to come in. They were from, where were they from? Missouri. So having a lovely chat to them. We talked about Drag Race, the gay unifier.
Perfect.
They said that they just wanted to get away for the weekend, and the temperature had been so bad in Missouri, but they were being very responsible. Meanwhile, there's some gays in the pool snogging.
What?
They were clearly they knew each other. They hadn't just met, the gays in the pool.
How dare
I
they?
know, very homosexual.
Public displays of affection
Yeah.
between homosexuals.
Mm-hmm. Can you believe?
I thought Vegas was literally where straight people just go to be the most disgusting people they can be. So thank God.
I know.
Thank God there's some queerness coming in.
Also, when I walked to the pool, actively walking to the pool without my mask, actively walking to it.
What does that mean? You have to be sprinting, full pelt sprint.
Yes, just looking active. I walked past a day bed that 2 women were lying on, and they were like, really like your sunglasses. But not in an annoying way. So anyway, that was my experience in Vegas during a pandemic. Food-wise, was a nightmare. You couldn't order room service. You any food you ordered, you'd have to order via an app, then go pick it up, and they'd give it to you prepackaged in a bag with way too many plastic forks.
Right.
So a lot of that.
Very
going on.
that. Yeah. That's
A
very
lot of
America.
branded. In the hotel, they gave you branded face masks and branded hand sanitizer and all that kind of stuff. Going on.
Lovely.
So anyway,
What a depressing souvenir of the pandemic you've got from that.
for a lifetime of memories. So that's Vegas during a pandemic. Vegas normally is very much, for our UK listeners and just for our listeners in general, it feels where people go to misbehave, particularly if you're of the straight persuasion.
Yeah.
In the past, we've gone for concerts for your 30th birthday.
Yeah, we've definitely touched on that trip a few times on this podcast.
Got our grubby little hands on that story.
Yeah.
And people kind of go there to go crazy, have fun. It's all centered around the Strip, which has many different themed hotels. Tell me about the different hotels you've stayed in Vegas over the years.
I've only stayed in Planet Hollywood because I've only been to Vegas once for my
What?
30th birthday. Yeah.
You've only been to Vegas once?
Yeah, because by the time I moved here, and this would have been the time, last year was about the time where I'd lived here long enough where we've been like, oh, let's do a trip to Vegas, and we couldn't.
Oh.
So it's on the docket for when this is all over. I guess we're gonna take our 40-year-old selves to Vegas. Let's really have some fun, guys.
I've stayed in Caesar's Palace before. The best part, Caesar's Palace is fascinating because it's actually been there for quite a long time, and they've extended it so many times that it has about 8 different towers of different sizes that all dwarf the other towers, so
Right.
everything's in a shadow. But I sent you a picture of the statue of Caesar outside. He had a mask on.
Oh God,
What's he like?
COVID fun.
Also, one of the best parts is if you go to the pool at Caesar's, there is a snack stand in the shape of a temple, and they've written above it "Snackus Maximus."
Oh my God.
Big fan.
Lord.
Stayed there. Stayed at the Vidara. Stayed at the Delano, which is kind of a more grown-up hotel. Again, it has no casino in it. I've stayed at the Nomad, which was very nice.
Yes.
Stayed at Planet Hollywood.
I've been to the
yeah.
MGM. My friend Shanina stayed. Oh no, it's before you came. So yeah, my friend that I went with for my 30th went before you arrived. They were staying at MGM, so I had a little nosy around there. I went in the lazy river and had a margarita at the MGM.
When we stayed at the Delano, it's connected to the Mandalay Bay, and it's got a really good lazy river. And when we went
love a
to
lazy
go
river.
use it, there was a woman getting out, and she was just saying to her friends, "You know what? No, Megan, she's going to do a few more evolutions."
Evolutions.
Yeah. No, Megan's going to do a few more evolutions.
It's like, so she's gonna become what, like a
Don't know.
like a new being by the time she's done a few more evolutions.
Yeah.
She's gonna be able to fly.
That was a trip where we saw JLo, but on another trip we saw Cher and Britney in one weekend, and a weekend we called the Chitney Weekend.
Oh, lovely.
That was beautiful.
See, that's the problem. I missed out on all these divas. I feel like Vegas isn't going to be the same by the time we can go again.
Well, I genuinely was trying to think while I was there, who is left post-COVID? Who is left that I would actually want to go to Vegas to see?
That's a really good point. I feel like every diva from who's living has done it that I'd want to see.
I've got the answer.
Who is it?
Residency of Spice Girls.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
That'd be a really fun trip, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
that's a really good space for them to work in as well.
Are you doing art direction?
Yeah, art direction. I was thinking about staging, scenery.
Yes, levels, spacing. Yeah, is it proscenium
Costume.
art? Is it in the round, maybe?
Yeah, probably in
get
the
that
round.
plasma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your 30th birthday.
Yeah.
That was quite an experience for us all.
Yeah, it was a wild ride. We spent a long time in Vegas as well. We were there for like a week. It was.
Were you?
Yeah, because you came later, didn't you? But we were there for like a week in overall, and it was too long. But I also, at that point, that's before I realized that I was going to move here. So I remember kind of saying like, "Hey, look, if we're going to do it, we might as well just do it once and really experience it." And we made the concerted effort to see pretty much every single hotel on the Strip. We were like, even because we just like walked into them because we wanted to like see because it's so heavily themed.
Yeah.
And there's some real ropey ones out there. The one Camelot, is it called Camelot? No, what's the night one?
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
Lancelot, Camelot,
Something
Round
like
Table, King Arthur.
White Castle.
No, that's the burgers. I don't know.
The Knight's Revenge, something like
Yeah,
that.
that one was the ropiest one. And then, yes, I think I've definitely talked about this in the podcast before, but also very stressful was New York, because it has that roller coaster that goes outside.
Oh, I've been on that by myself before.
Well, we went on that the day after heavy drinking, and like we went stupidly, obviously in June when my birthday is, and we went on that at like midday. So we were kind of indoors in air conditioning being like, oh God, it's got on the roller coaster, and obviously, it starts off indoors. Then all of a sudden, we were suddenly just in the dazzling lunchtime, midday Vegas desert sun. And like as it was going up the hill, all of us were like, oh, woozy.
I want to give a real shout out to the Luxor Hotel.
Oh, the Luxor's right up your alley, isn't it?
It's built in the shape of a pyramid in 1992. It has a light at the top of it that was so bright that flies and different insects would breed beside the light, and it was so hot that a new type of fly bred there and like was created because the light was so strong.
Oh, that's the most disgusting Vegas thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but it's fallen kind of, it's fallen a bit off the map in recent years in terms of, I don't know, being the hotel to stay at. So they had to downgrade the light. So it's now like energy efficient.
They dimmed it.
Yeah, they dimmed it. But there's a really great documentary on YouTube all about the building of the Luxor. And they say things like, never before has mankind built such a structure. And it's like, well, no, except the pyramids.
Like they literally have, in much more difficult conditions.
And it's all these people,
far difficult materials.
It's all these people talking at great length and real passion about the design of the hotel, and they call the design like we've created a whole new design aesthetic for the hotel. It's called Crypto Egypto. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's the thing about Vegas. It's so it's such a uniquely American thing to go somewhere with no culture and no history, pretty much, and for that to kind of almost be its own culture and history. So like, I think of Vegas as very glamorous for that reason, because it's Vegas. Like we've heard about Vegas our whole lives, and you grow up hearing about it in like movies and stuff. But it's like actually a pretty grim place.
Oh, it's so grim.
But like, there's just something so exciting about it when you're there. I think it's also just because if you're from the UK, you've never seen something of the scale of it. I think that's what it is. That's so overwhelming.
Everything
you've just never seen buildings so big, and you've never walked so far in your entire life.
It reminds me of being in Berlin when there's all the kind of the Hitler-built architecture that was designed to be so big that it made you feel as a person really tiny and inadequate. That's what the buildings of Vegas are like. They're so just out of scale and oversized.
Yeah.
From my bedroom when I was there for work last week, I sent you a video, but when I went to bed every night, I'd be like lying in bed and I just hear like kind of roaring noises, and it was because the Bellagio fountains were outside my window and they were just exploding like every 30 minutes, and then the Eiffel Tower in the background as well.
Those fucking fountains.
Oh God.
one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in Vegas was me and my friends thought it would be a very good idea. We were walking along the strip and we were like going in and out of all the hotels. We were like, okay, we'll walk back to our hotel, which was basically, I think we had to pass through like 4 or 5 hotels.
And probably cross the road, cross the strip.
No. We were literally like walking through the hotels to get to our one. Like you could walk in, like you could almost stay inside the whole time, but you had to be outside for some of it. And we were like, let's get a drink for this, because that's the other thing in Vegas. Everyone's drinking on the street.
Yeah, those giant yards.
So we bought
yardstick.
We bought a yard of frozen margaritas.
You were one of those.
Well, yeah, because we were tourists. So I wasn't some US resident like I am now, attending there. So we bought a yard of frozen margarita, and I remember we were drinking it as we were walking along, and I just remember, like, it was almost like I was dying. Like, I was drunk for like 5 seconds, and then I was dead for the rest of it. Like, I got so woozy, and we were like having to walk on the street at some point, so it was like midday sun, and it was just like, ooh. All I can remember is that we drank this yard of margaritas, and then all of us got back to our hotel and immediately just went to bed.
Did you use the yard as like a walking stick to help you?
Pretty much. Yeah, it was awful. It's a really tough place, even though the whole culture there is built on drinking and having fun. It's also a really tough place to be hungover, because it's all lights, bells, whistles, noises, smokes, cigarettes, drinking, shouting. Now, this is really dark and it's actually not that funny, but at any point did anyone make the joke, come to Vegas and gamble with your life?
Oh no, but that should be their
that
new
really
tagline.
should be their COVID tagline.
Yeah. So that was Vegas. That
Still
was
there.
Still there.
Guys,
still there.
Can you believe it? It's still fucking there, and people are going there. Gays from Missouri are going there.
And we were there all, like 10 days for work, and the weekdays it was quietish. That weekend, I tell you what, ramped right up.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Ramped right up.
I'm really not ready for Vegas. I feel like you went from 0 to like the most you could.
Yeah.
Was that pretty intense? This is me just asking you, like, as a friend having a conversation. Did you feel kind of like it was a bit bonkers when you first got there?
I think I knew what to expect because we traveled through it for one night at the end of last summer. So I kind of knew, and I always expect the worst from Vegas.
Yes.
So actually everyone was wearing masks.
Right.
And was genuinely quite distanced. No one was tearing them off and being horrific.
Right.
Like a colleague said to me that on Saturday morning there were 2 girls walking through the hotel, and they just had those yards of drinks. They were empty, they were wasted, and they were just shouting at the top of their lungs, Vegas! But they had their masks on.
Good for them.
Yeah. It feels, in general, Vegas feels like that movie Wall-E, which I've seen once. You know that movie? Yeah. Wall-E? Where they've like destroyed Earth and everyone's living up in a space station, and all the humans are like going around in those wheelchairs, those hover wheelchairs, with drinking giant sippy cups. I think that space station is Vegas.
Right. Oh, so that's your UK equivalent. It's actually just going to be a Pixar equivalent.
It's going to be a Pixar equivalent. No, I was thinking about it.
Right.
You touched on it before. People outside of the US and British people think that Vegas is glamorous. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can do it in a glamorous way. You can be expensive and do it all, but it's still a complete place of trash.
Yeah, and even if you had the most expensive experience of your life there, you're still seeing a lot of trash.
Yeah, you still are. You're still walking in and out of a casino and someone shouting Vegas with a yard of margarita.
Never forget the iconic bandage dress picture that we took at my 30th birthday. Remember?
No.
Come on. Do you remember there was that line of girls, and every single person in front of us, there was maybe like 30 women, and they were all wearing bandage dresses, and they weren't all together. You remember that?
I feel like of a time that was
I just remember one of us took it, we were like, oh my God. It was like literally like an invasion of like zombies all in bandage dresses. Like knockoff Hervé Leger bandage dresses.
And also that was 2014, so it was maybe like 4 years after the trend.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, beautiful.
Really trickled down to the Vegas gals.
So I was thinking, what is the UK equivalent? And I think the UK equivalent of Las Vegas is Dubai.
Whoa, Nelly.
Because it's now I've never been, but from what I understand, it's glamorous
in the middle of the desert.
In the middle of the desert, it's overblown. Everything's oversized. Everything's too much.
Everyone's straight.
Everything by law. Everything's trashy. You can have an expensive time there, but you can have a trashy time. It's almost like Dubai is the modern Vegas.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
I think that's pretty good. You've blown my mind. It's high concept. I was like, I was trying to think. I was like, Blackpool's just like not. It's like Blackpool's just like not got the right level of like. Blackpool has the debauchery of Vegas, yeah.
Oh.
But I think that's like any town in the UK has the debauchery of Vegas. I also feel like that's also why a lot of people, why Americans wouldn't believe that British people would know about Vegas, because we're living in Vegas like every like Friday and Saturday night is like the same level of like, I'm not saying anything is the same, but the behavior is exactly the same.
Yeah. In
like
terms of
shit-faced out in the street shouting.
In terms of like going for it.
Yes, completely. Losing your mind. Like Americans go to Vegas and lose their mind, and that's it. They do that once a year. People in the UK lose their mind every weekend.
On the high street.
On the high street.
Yeah.
Being like,
Go down Wetherspoons.
Norwich! Screaming that instead of Vegas.
Norwich.
And you know,
where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do when you're in Norwich.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
I love that. I and I also, on more than one occasion back in my days of Norwich, I feel like I have taken drinks out of clubs, even though, and again, drunk on the street. Not that that's sanctioned like it is in Vegas, but I feel like I've somehow walked out of a bar with a glass of wine and just drunk it walking down the street.
Oh, definitely. or like in the UK, the classic thing of when we would go. Remember, you used to be able to drink on like the bus and the tube. You remember?
Yes.
That was totally allowed. Bonkers. Or remember, I'd drink half a can of Red Bull and then fill up the rest with vodka, and you'd take that on the way to the club, so you could walk through the street with it.
Yeah.
But I'm smart. Yeah?
Yeah,
you hear me?
You are smart.
Dead smart. Right. So the UK equivalent of Vegas is Dubai.
Of course.
You're welcome.
And we are closing out, as ever, with our quick game of Welcome Not Welcome, which is where we come up with British things or American things, and we say whether they are welcome or not welcome, aka whether we like them or not. I haven't prepared. I'm going to do mine quickfire, improv style, and I'm going to base mine all around Sainsbury's.
Love it. Are you going to start? Am I going to start?
Welcome or not welcome, Trisha Goddard.
Welcome. Did you see her today?
Welcome. She shut down Piers Morgan on Good Morning Britain today. Fabulous. She's from Norwich and used to shop in my Sainsbury's, which is why she was my Sainsbury's welcome not welcome.
That's a good little fact. Who do you think the US equivalent of Trisha Goddard is?
Maybe Jenny Jones or a Sally Jessy Raphael. Okay. I feel like she was more at that kind of level with the terms of the stuff she used to deal with on the show.
SJR
or
Got
JJ.
It. Welcome or not welcome, the phrase yonks.
Oh, love it. Oh, it's been yonks.
It's been yonks. It's been yonks since you've been to Vegas.
Oh, do you know what? It really has been yonks.
It's been yonks since I've been in a Sainsbury's.
They definitely don't say yonks here. Because after the great, hunky-dory revelation of today.
Of the Midwest.
They know what. Maybe they say yonks in the Midwest. I feel like that's something they would say there. Kaylee, get at us. It's been yonks since it's been hunky-dory here in Iowa. Welcome or not welcome. Sainsbury's improv, come up with it, Frazer. Oh, I know. Pick and mix. Let me tell you a little something.
Love pick and mix. Wait, we need to explain to the US audience what pick and mix is. What would it be called here?
It's like a...
I was going to say penny sweets, but no, that's us.
It's a self-service collection of candies
that you dig out with spoons and you put into a bag. Like a big plastic spoon. You put it into a bag and then you weigh the bag and then you pay how much it weighs. What?
No, it's just very funny when you pick it apart like that and you think about it as if we're talking to like aliens and it sounds insane. You're like, you get that spoon and you put it in a bag and then you weigh it. What kind of archaic like weighing your corn at the market fucking system is that?
Weigh your candy.
Anyway, when I worked at Sainsbury's, I used to this is actually quite disgusting and very unhygienic, but sometimes I just put my hand in, just eat some of it as I was working.
Pre-COVID.
Pass it and just be like, oh, grab a little fizzy cola bottle, pop that
Love
in.
a fizzy cola bottle.
Fizzy cola bottle.
An egg.
And the cherry ones.
Love an egg.
I'm all about the fizzy. I loved anything fizzy.
Ooh, what else would I get in there? I think, fizzy, an egg, love a cherry.
Yeah, but then I also would do, because when you get pick and mix at the cinema, I would do chocolate covered peanuts and raisins, and then they would, because they were heavy, they'd fall to the bottom of the bag. So you'd eat all the sweets on top of that, and at the end you had a nice little chocolate peanut raisin mix. You could just
yummy.
Snarl that.
Put that in your little nose bag. Oh, I love a chocolate covered raisin. So good.
So good.
Oh, you're welcome.
Welcome.
100% welcome. Welcome or not welcome, the phrase getting dolled up.
Oh, lovely.
You're gonna get dolled up for Vegas.
It's been yonks since I got dolled up and went to Vegas.
Put on your Hervé Leger.
Yeah, when everything's hunky-dory, I'll put my Hervé Leger. Get myself back to Vegas, get dolled up. Yeah, no, I like Get Dolled Up. It reminds me of, actually speaking of people tearing through the streets of Vegas or through UK high streets, feels like it's a very like UK, makes me feel like good times are coming back if you're like, oh, get dolled up on a Friday night.
Oh yeah. Do you know, I'm gonna get dolled up. I've got a glass of wine while I'm doing it.
Oh,
getting dolled
yeah.
up. Getting dolled up is just getting ready. You're getting ready. How would you describe getting dolled up?
Yes, it's like doing your glam.
Yeah, getting ready. Yeah, doing your glam.
Doing your glam.
Doing your glam. Got another Sainsbury's inspo for us.
Okay. Oh my God. We used to sell, it was cooked, crispy bacon
Wait, how?
in the chilled aisle. It was a plastic packet of cooked, crispy bacon.
So would this be to maybe like crumple up and sprinkle in a salad?
Yes. But they were rashers. It was not bacon bits. They were full rash. You could put them in a sandwich. So if you wanted a bacon sandwich, you just would crack it open, put it between some bread and eat it.
Well, I tell you what, the meal delivery place that I've been using in LA, you can get that as an add-on.
Well,
Like a giant tub of crispy bacon, and
Yep.
I did do a little reheat.
yeah.
And I put it in a sandwich.
And let me tell you, these were the days before I was a vegetarian, everyone. And I used to, when I worked in that chilled aisle, again, little pig noise. I used to, sometimes on my break, I'd buy a little thing of just cooked bacon.
The
and
pig
just
would eat the pig.
sit up there and be like, snuffle on some cooked. Oh my God, it was so salty. I remember that it had the colors on it to describe
colour
like
wheel.
the color wheel, and
Full
it was
red.
red, salt red, fat red, sugar red. What? Milk red. What? How's that in bacon? Just everything. Oh, welcome.
I'm going to say welcome because I feel like I've done it recently.
Oh, what I would give for just one of those packets of Sainsbury's own brand
But you
cooked
don't,
bacon.
But you don't eat bacon anymore, do you?
I know, but maybe I would just for that, just for old time's sake.
Oh, well, how about this? How about being in Vegas?
Uh-huh.
You're indoors.
I'm dolled up.
You're dolled up in your Hervé Leger. You've got your wee cig. You've got maybe a lovely little drink, and someone comes around and serves you a wee bit of bacon.
Just on like a platter. Yes. Someone's like, a gentleman at the bar has bought you this cooked Sainsbury's bacon. And I'll be like, who, me? Oh my God, yeah. I mean, welcome. Dream. Oh my God, imagine if it was James. He's like, I'm also gay and I love you. And I bought you some Sainsbury's bacon. And we get married in Vegas.
You get married in Vegas. And do you know where it'd be a really lovely place to have like your reception? Top of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, stunning. Or on that
Beautiful.
New York roller coaster.
Well, that'd be your photo. Your photo. Maybe a boat ride at the Venetian.
Oh, James, if you're listening, I think you might be married now, but better divorce that wife of yours. Someone's getting married to me in Vegas.
In Vegas. You're going to be doing some evolutions on that,
That
lazy river.
Oh,
Do you know what? I think we're done.
hell. Fucking hell.
Fucking hell, I think we're done. Got dolled up for this. Thank you, as ever, for listening to our rambles. We hope you're all well out there.
Yep.
Do get in touch on our Instagram and our Twitter and our email. Because look, in fact, send us some more voice messages. We enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Oh, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, do that too. Send us an email.
Send us a letter.
Especially you, James. Get in touch. Got some plans to talk about. 2022.
No, Vegas is open. Do it now. Right. You are welcome.
Hey.
You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
Igo by Toyota sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13.
Marlene.
I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.